but that will be done after today. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
uh,
Now,
I think
mhm.
to make it easier for us, maybe we can mention some of the uh, criteria we considered. So for these papers, the focus on was only on papers studies focusing in the Ghanaian construction industry relating to building information modeling.
That's
And
good.
we excluded literature reviews
Okay.
and other report. Yeah, so I think that was the basic thing we did.
Okay. That's good. So, you have the listed. You wrote that part of the.
No,
Oh,
that part 3.3 was written by Gosway.
that's
Yeah,
way. Okay. So
yeah,
all of so those things have been captured now, right?
yeah, yes.
Mm, okay. So now let's move on to the analysis. Now we have the paper. So what next? So I'm going to show you what to do next so that once Alex and Elvis they get hold of the papers, they'll know what to do. Okay. So the first thing is let's tackle the overview part.
Please, should I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can stop sharing so that I'll share my. Let me share.
Doc, I think Goswell has joined.
Oh, Ghostway, you are welcome. How are you? Ghostway, can you hear from us? Okay. Ghostway can hear. Ghostway, maybe the internet.
Yes.
Okay, so please let's look at this. This image, I'm trying to connect to it.
Mm.
There's some noise at the background from my end, or everything is fine.
From my side, I think everything is fine.
Okay. Okay, so this is what we are. Okay, I'm going to look at. So we are going to base it on my paper, but at the same time, there are so many papers online. I'll show you some of them very soon. So now we have the papers. So what next? The next thing to do is that we need to do the basic analysis, which I want all of us to do it. So now we all have the papers. Okay. So one, we have the papers. I want one of you to look at this. Can be done quickly, and we can do it this by next another 1 week. We should be able to do this. One should be looking at listing where the studies came from. So out of the 17, if we pick each of them, where did these studies came from? And when I say came from, I'm talking about the country. Where was this paper written? If it is not so clear in the study, you right, not sure. But I think in this case, they are from Ghana, right? The best approach should have been to look at this from the particular area in Ghana that these studies were conducted, so that we check the regional balance or the geographical balance. But in this case, I think it's going to be, from my experience in conducting a study, a similar meta-analysis in Ghana, it's hard to establish such things. It's very difficult.
Okay,
But
a few questions.
Most Ghanaian studies are more, they are broad. The authors normally say the study was conducted in Ghana. They don't really go into the specifics of, maybe they took the data from Accra, Kuforidia, or Wa or something. So in that case, we will skip the study setting. Now let's look at the project type. So please, we'll skip the first column. That's what I'm saying. So the second column is the project type. We can look at that. Yeah, so the project type. Somebody should be looking at the project. So if you take each of the studies, where or which project is the study related to? Maybe it's related to buildings, it may be related to roads, or it could be general. So if you are not sure and the type of project is not specifically stated in the paper, just state general, like generic. So that's one. And who want to take that? Ooh, so you take each of the 17 papers. How do you do that? I wish I have the list so that I can do one. I will show you one. But let's assume that maybe you have the paper and one paper is BM of Ghana. I'm just saying, that's not the title, but I'm just giving an example. So when you check it like this, just an example, where you can find the project type, you can read the article, the abstract. It will tell you the project type, like the projects that they apply the study to, maybe building, it's road construction, it's any other project that you can think of. But if you are not sure about the type of project, just put in general or not sure. You just put it there, not sure or general. Once I get your feedback, I will also check and confirm. So who will do this? Any of you can do this. Alex, I think you can do this for us. Easy. Alex, please do that part. Just
Yes,
the 17. You can extend that table, that Excel sheet, and then you just put the name there. So you just click on each of the studies and then check the project type.
yes.
You are not sure, yes, right? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Then the next thing is the research design. With the research design and quality of score, I would like to do it because that's the part that I wrote. Now today I'm going to show you how to do this because this is a very critical part of, because I know that many of you will use this method, this meta-analysis method for your studies. So the question is, how did you do this? So I'm going to help you out with how to go about this. To conduct this part, you can look out for just do a search. Quality assessment of systematic reviews. Quality assessment of systematic reviews. In other words, how do you check the quality? It's just like trying to check the quality of anything. Like let's say you buy an iPhone, you buy food, you buy anything. I'm just making it plain, like make it like a pedestrian. I'm explaining it in a pedestrian context, but actually that's not what it means. But I'm just making it like that. So you buy a phone, you buy a house, you complete building. How do you check whether the thing is okay or the thing is not? Okay, so that is why we do this. So out of the 17 papers that we have selected, we need to check whether the papers are okay and they don't contain any bias or they don't have any bias. And the word bias here has to do with issues. They don't have issues, whether methodologically they are sound or not. So I'll take you straight to this website. I guess it's a music libraries. I guess they have defined what the bias is. So normally in literature, when you are reading, you see words like quality assessment. That's one. Or assessment of risk. That's two. You also see critical appraiser. So when you see all these words, they mean the same thing. Quality bias, quality of bias assessment, quality assessment, critical appraiser assessment. They mean the same thing. You are just checking whether the paper is sound methodologically and even how it has been constructed throughout. But normally the focus is more on the methodology. That paper, so if you pick this paper, we can assess it, this paper, just an example. We can assess it and check whether this paper is sound and it is worthy for systematic review, whether it's okay or it's not, or there's an issue with it. And you have to always check. Because some papers are not worthy, some papers are not okay to be added to your systematic review. Yeah, so you need to check that. So how do you check that? That's the question. It's a very important part of systematic review. Many people don't do this because I understand why many people don't do it, because the nature of our studies, the kind of papers that we use for our review in construction management, it's difficult to do some of these analysis because the systems that have been designed to check this quality assessment, they favor more of studies in medical sciences. They study, but in recent years or in recent times, all the papers I've been reading, even in construction management, they ask whether you undertook quality assessment or you check the biases. Because recently, one paper I submitted with Alex. I don't know whether Alex, you got a notification, one of our papers. Yeah, there was a part of it where the reviewer asks whether we undertook quality assessment of the literature that we use, the papers that we use. The word here is literature, or the papers, the articles. So it's the same, like when you conduct any review, any literature review, whether systematic or whatever, the reviewers, the examiners want to know whether the papers that you have selected for the analysis, they are worthy, they are okay. So let me take you through this. So I'm using this from music libraries. So on screening article, one screening article is completed, and we know this because we have already screened the articles, and now we have 17 papers. The quality assessment part of the systematic review process may begin. So once the screening is done, which we have done, quality assessment may be performed before or after data extraction. Normally, I prefer to do it before the data extraction so that I'll get to know the papers I'm working with. Okay, since systematic review rely on data from other studies, the evidence in the systematic review is really as good as or as free from biases as the included studies. Therefore, the methodological quality of each individual study included in a systematic review should be assessed. So please take note of this, because as I said, many people are not aware of this, or many people don't do this. And I've seen this over and over and over as a reviewer. The aim of checking each of the papers, so in this case, our 17 papers, we need to check each of them and see that methodologically they are sound, they are of high quality, they are worthy to be included in our study. In other words, they deserve to be part of our study. So this is a process which involves appraising, judging, and documenting potential risk of bias. The potential risk of bias, for example, let me give you an example. One of the, maybe some of the papers that we have selected, for order you check and maybe the authors use very simple, or I will not use the word simple, I'll say little or small sample size. Small or little sample size. Small or little little samples. So maybe out of maybe that study in the past, many authors have used, let's say, 1,000 samples, and for maybe this one of the studies that you are including in your current study, for them, instead of using 1,000 samples as their sample size, they have used, let's say, 20 or 50 and 70, and they have justified it. Even though the 70 is okay and it has been justified in the paper, maybe for all that you know, it's not okay enough. Okay, great. The next important thing is, okay, now we want to appraise, we want to assess, we want to document potential risk and bias. How do we go about it? And that will bring us to what we call the risk of bias or quality assessment tools. So when you come down here, please, do you all understand what I have explained? Is there anyone who has a question? But this is very important, very, very important. Very important, because many people don't do this, or many studies don't do this. Do you all understand the meaning of quality assessment? Quality assessment. You are checking the methodological quality. Okay, so the next step is the method. Now we want to know whether the studies have methodological quality. What method do we use? Okay, the method that we use for the quality assessment will be dependent on the research design. So for quantitative studies, there are methods or approaches that you have to use. For qualitative studies, for mixed studies, so different studies have their different quality assessment tools. And what is these tools? These tools are not really tools, they are just questions. They are questions and statements asking you something. I'll show you some very soon. So, not to waste too much time, I will start with a mixed study. So these things that you see here, they are called research designs. Just don't want to further. So first, before we go into this, let me help you out with the research designs. So research designs, as you and I, we all know it. There are three categories of research designs: quantitative, qualitative, and mixed method. As in, these are the traditional ones that we all know, right? Qualitative, quantitative, and mixed method. These are the three research designs that we know. But these traditional research designs, we can break them down. We can break them down. So for example, if you take qualitative research design, we can break the qualitative research design into experimental, quasi experimental, or quasi-experimental. We have descriptive or observational, correctional, cross-sectional. All these are quantitative research designs. Why? I don't know whether I did this with you guys the other time, but I explained to you what we call the research philosophy. The positivist, interpretivist, and constructivist. And then also pragmatist. I don't know whether I did that with you. Yeah, but all these quantitative research designs, they come under what we call the positivist research paradigm. Why are they positivists? Because normally these research designs hold a position that the world is, matters, experiences, issues in this world are factual, they are objective. And we judge issues not based on our feelings, but based on facts. Okay. And then we have the other type of research design, the other category, which we also know is qualitative research designs. These come in the form of case studies, ethnography, phenomenology, grounded theory. These studies, normally they come under what we call the interpretivist research design, philosophy or paradigm. For such studies, they are grounded in what we called researcher biased resource, kind of resource or related. In other words, the feelings, the emotions, the personal judgment and experiences of participants and researchers are welcomed in this type of study of designs, because it's in qualitative research design that somebody can share their life experiences, what they have been through. It's all about facts. And if I think somebody like Noah and Alex, if I ask you to share your life experiences, you share different stories. Why? Because you come from different backgrounds and you have had different experiences in life. But that cannot be done in quantitative research. Quantitative research is both factual. It's about the facts. It's normally not about what you feel. Okay. Now the last one is the mixed methods. It's also is one of the research designs. Great. So if you want to assess any paper, any study, the first thing that you need to look at is look up to the methodology section. So if you take this paper, for example, the paper is a 2-round Delphi method, right? So then the question is, what research design fits into a 2-round Delphi method? So if you are not sure, you can just copy this and go and search. Just go and search. Can you see? So a 2-round Delphi method inherently fits into mixed method or exploratory sequential research. Okay, so that means if I am doing this, in order to not to worry myself, I'll just say it's a mixed method. I hope everyone is okay with this. Great. Once you say it is a mixed method, then the next thing to do is you have to look out for a mixed method quality assessment tool. So you click on mix. You can do the search online. This one is just an example, or just on a website, which I need to acknowledge in my. So this is for music libraries guide. Great. So for the mixed method, these are some of the quality assessment tools. Great. So I'm going to open this one. This is very popular, the mixed method. Oh. What's happening? Okay, if not, I'll go and search. And just do mixed method quality appraiser too. Yeah. And then you just click on, it's called MMAT or MMAT or MMAT. So this is the tool. And what is the tool? This is tool. It's not a tool like machine or iPhone or robot or something. It's just a questionnaire. I don't know why this thing is. Have they updated or something? Maybe it has been updated or something. Sometimes they update, but it's just a questionnaire. So I'm trying to say that it's a questionnaire. This thing, it's a questionnaire. Give me a minute. Let me try. This thing's supposed to open. It's a questionnaire that asks some questions. Then you just answer. Good. So this is the thing. It's a questionnaire like this. So each of them is a questionnaire. I got this. I did some work for someone, professor. And okay, yeah, I think I have some here. Is this the one? So it's the same anyway. It's not, I don't think it's going to be different, but it's the same. Yeah. So the mixed method appraiser 2 or the MMAT. Okay. So it's a questionnaire. So this is the questionnaire. This is how the questionnaire has been structured. Right. So I'm going to take you through how to do it. I'll do this and I also look at one or two more from quantitative and qualitative so that you do the same. So when you pick this questionnaire, is a questionnaire, this is a questionnaire. And then you pick your paper. So in this paper that we are using this paper. It's a kind of work and you need to spend some time here. Yeah. So the paper that we are using in this case is what? Unveiling critical success factors for BIM stakeholder collaboration in Ghana, a Delphi study. I don't know what's the name. Noah, did you include this paper? Because it seems this paper has just been published. Noah and Gosway. Did you? Hello.
No, please.
No.
Yeah, please. So add this because it seems this has just been published.
Okay.
Yeah, this is 2026 May, roughly about 10 days ago. Okay. So you need to add this paper. It's a newly published paper. So take note. So if we are using this paper, well, and we have established that the research design, okay, is a Delphi, or the research methodology is Delphi, and the Delphi falls within or we're under mixed method. Once we agree on this, so let me take you back to my paper first. So you can see that each of my papers, I established what? The research design. In my case, it's almost like all the studies I selected, they were cross-sectional. They were all cross-sectional. That's why the design was cross-sectional. Great. And once they are cross-sectional, you need to select the quality assessment tool. But in this paper, for example, if I'm going to take this paper, the BAME paper I've just shown you, the research design will be a mixed method, one, and then the appraisal tool will be MMAT, MMAT, or MMAT. So within the MMAT, if I pick that paper, I need to answer some questions. So the first question is related to this. So this is the appraiser. This is what we call the appraiser. Appraiser means just like doing any appraiser, asking somebody question, assessing somebody. How do you assess someone? You can ask a person questions. Like let's say at a construction site, or you are doing some work with somebody and the person come back to tell you that he or she has completed a job. You can start asking the person questions to see whether indeed the person has done the work or not. So it's the same thing that applies to the appraiser. So the appraisal questions come in the form of questions or statements. So, and based on that, to help you to know whether the paper is methodologically sound or the paper is not. Now let's start. One, it's ask questions that are there clear research questions? That's a question that is, so if I pick that paper, the BAME paper, you go back to check the paper, are there clear research questions? So you just go back and check. This study applies critical. Okay, so the research question is not clear. Either two things, either research question or objectives. Yeah, the research questions or objectives are not clear. So if you want to go further, go into the main paper, like take the main and read the introduction part, because it's normally within the introduction. The research questions or objectives or aims are stated. Is that okay? So go into definitely. I'm hopeful they have the research question or objectives or the aim somewhere. The purpose is within the introduction. Here is not clearly stated, but I'm hopeful is in there. So once that one is clear there, you can click yes. But if after reading the abstract and the introduction, there is no clear research questions, you tick no. If the thing is no, then the paper is what? The paper has a little bit of an issue, because the paper which does not have a clear research questions or research objectives or research aim, then the paper has issues. And there are papers like that, especially when you are reading some of these papers that we call the predatory papers from predatory journals. You don't see the head and tail of those papers. So those papers, you may end up at the end of the day to take them out of your review because it's not methodologically sound. They didn't follow the right method. If you are not sure, say another, and then the comment. So you can add some comments that maybe they have stated the purpose, but the purpose, it seems where the purpose they have stated it is not clear, or some way or something. Then second question, do the collected data allow to address the research question? So based on, you look at this at the methodology section and the results. The data that they collected are the data addressing the research questions. Because you and I know that there are some papers that you also read that they stated something as the purpose, as the research question, as the objective, and you go to the results and it's something different. It's almost like an issue that I was dealing with 2 days ago with a student. You know, the student has the introduction and everything, and then the person has collected the data. But when you go to the person's results section, the results, you don't see the head and tail of the kind of questions that the person has addressed. The reason why I'm saying this is that, like, even though the results are there, the person has presented the results in the chapter 4, but as to what the results are and what they are addressing, they are not clear. We all see this a lot. Like, you are reading a paper and then the results are there, and then you go back to the introduction to check the questions, and the questions, they don't tally or they don't go with the results. Yes, issues. So once you identify that there's a problem, and here, remember, you are what? Assessing. So be very critical. You're an assessor, an independent, like just like any assessor, like an examiner, like a reviewer of the paper. So be candid. Don't just give a yes or no and then move on. Because some papers, they don't deserve to be part of your review. I hope you get it. Now the next question, because it's a mixed method. Remember, we all know mixed method is made up of qualitative and quantitative aspects. So there's a section that will ask you questions about qualitative, and there's a section that will ask you questions about quantitative. Okay, so now let's take the qualitative part. Is the qualitative approach appropriate to answer the research question? So the qualitative approach includes like literature review. Did they conduct a proper literature review? Because literature review is normally considered to be a qualitative approach because of the content and thematic analysis. Yes or no? Or you are not sure? Are the qualitative data collection adequate? Are the findings adequate from the data? Is the interpretation result sufficiently substantiated by data? Is there any coherence between qualitative data source collection, analysis, and interpretation? Then you come here. So some of the questions, they don't apply to us. Once again, I want to state that all these methods and systems were designed for what? For those in the medical science field, and to some extent, those in the social science. Yeah. Many of the things don't apply, like something like randomized control trials. Those of us in construction management and engineering in general, we don't do any randomized control trials. These are purely medical science terms. Because in medical science, you have to go to laboratory or lab, do all this testing and control for whatever. Use rabbits, use animals to test whether your medicine is effective or not. But we don't do those things, right? So some of the questions will not apply to us. For the questions that don't apply to us, you can just say, can't tell, move on. Can't tell. Or you can just write, not applicable. I think not applicable will be better. Any, not applicable. So you can put them in the comment section. Not applicable. So you can skip the number 2, the questions under number 2, questions under number 3, and then you come to question number 4. Because definitely your study may have these things like the sampling strategy. What sampling method did you use? So if you go back to this paper, they said they use what? Purposive sampling. Is that not the case? They use purposive sampling for their BAME expertise in Ghana. Yes, so it's asking you a question. Is the sampling strategy relevant to address a research question? Yes or no? It's up to you to answer. Is the sample representative of the targeted population? Like the sample size, is it okay? Comparatively, let's go back and see how many samples. 17 experts. And so they use, let's say if you combine the first and second round, they use 30. 30 representative enough? I cannot say yes, I cannot say no, but it will depend on similar studies on BIM which have been conducted. So you should be the one who should judge whether 30 samples are okay or not. I don't want to give a judgment, or I don't want to say anything. Are the measurement appropriate? Measurement in terms of like the variables that they used. Are they okay? Is a risk non-response bias low? Like, let's say they put out 50 surveys, or they invited 50 people to be part of the study. How many people agreed to be part of it? Or they put out a survey of 50. How many people return back the survey? So let's say if 90% returned the survey, or 90% responded to the survey, then the risk of non-response is low. But let's say they put 50 there and only 10% or 15% respond. I mean, the risk of non-response is very high. Now, the next question is the statistical analysis approach. Okay, that in other words, like if they use something like mean score ranking, fuzzy, structural equation modeling, t-tests, and others, are they appropriate? Were they appropriate to answer the research questions? Yes or no? Okay, good. Now you come to the mixed method part. With the mixed method part, you ask yourself the same questions. Because Delphi is a mix, is there an adequate rationale for using a mixed method like Delphi? Did they justify it? So you can look at this in the full paper, go to the methodology section. Did they justify why they use Delphi? Are the different components of the study effectively integrated to answer the research questions? You can check and answer this yourself. Now, let's assume you have ticked all these things. So now how do you know whether the ranking is good or not? So normally what I do is that with a yes, I put 2. Then here it's up to you to just put anything, or you can decide not to put any number. And then you can just say that the number of yeses were more than the number of no's, and can't tell. In a situation where your number of yeses, yes, as I say, you can decide to put numbers. So instead of yes, you can make it 3, no is 2, can't tell will be 1. And when you add, you finish, you sum them up to give you a better idea. Or if not, if you don't sum them up, just maintain the yes, the no, and then the can't tell. And then count the number of yeses. So out of the some you said yes, some no, some yes, some can't tell. Just add them. So let's assume that we have finished this, and the number of yeses out of how many questions? 1, 2, 3, 2 here, 7 plus 5 is 12, 12 plus 5, 17, 17 plus 5, 22, 22 plus 5, 27. So out of the 27 questions, are there more questions down there? That's all. Out of the 27 questions, if let's say my yeses are 20, I have taken yes, 20. No. Let's say 5. Can't tell, maybe 2. Then at the end of the day, I can boldly say that this paper is not biased. Right? They pass the bias check, or they have passed the bias check. So methodologically, the paper is not biased. What that means is that the paper is sound. The paper is worthy to be included in my analysis. That will take me back to my paper. I'm just giving you, somebody would say the behind the scenes info as to how I went about my paper. So you see, you can see the quality of study score, right? So you can see some of them 8/8, 7/8, 8/8, 6/8. The 7/8, 8/8, those things represent the yeses So for example, if you take the first paper, I take all of them, yes, 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 yes. So that means the paper is sound. So the higher the yeses, the better. The lower the yeses, the paper has a problem, and you have to consider taking it out of your list. So let's assume maybe I got 1 or 2, 2/8, or 3/8, or 0/8. That means the paper, the yeses are low, and the paper has a problem. The paper has so many questions, and therefore I need to consider taking the paper out of mine, because when you check it from quality, it has issues. There's so many methodological biases, problems that need to be resolved. And at that point, you are not the one going to resolve the paper and the issues, because the researchers have put their paper out there, the publishers have put the paper out there. So it's you that you are just trying to save yourself from people questioning your study, that you know the paper has a problem. So why did you include it in your study? You knew after your bias analysis that the paper has a problem, but you still went ahead to put it into your study. Then now the problem is on you. It's no more on the publishers. It's no more on the authors. It's you, the researcher, who is conducting the systematic literature review, that you should have done your homework well. So here, what can you see? Most of the papers are 7/8, 8/8, 7/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8. That means the paper is good, right? So I made a statement. So I'm going to read a statement to you. I said, let me check. I made a statement. The level of methodological robustness, trustworthiness, error-free, and reliability of the studies was established with a score of 6 or more. Okay, I know many studies say half, at least. If the yes is, out of the 27, we should get half. More than half is enough. But other papers that really, other papers or other studies that really want to establish a strong, robust outcome, they'll put the bar higher. But the fundamental thing is that most studies consider half. Half means 50% or more. Once you get 50% or more, then the paper is free from biases, from methodological biases. In my case, I set it as 6 or more out of the 8. So if the score is 6 or more, then it's good enough. But as I said, you can set it as 50% or more. So let's say the mixed method, if we appraise this one, out of the 27 questions, if the yeses are, half of 27 is what? 13, 14, right? 13, 14, 14, 15. If the yeses are 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, we get 17 yeses. Yes, 17, or 16, or 14, or 15. Then the paper is good enough. But if we get anything less than that, then the paper has issues. We need to consider withdrawing it. Is that okay? So this is 1, 2, this is for mixed method. What about if my paper is a quantitative study, which is a cross-sectional, which many of us use? Cross-sectional is more of questionnaire. Most questionnaire studies fall under what we call cross-sectional. Most questionnaire studies fall under what we call cross-sectional studies. For cross-sectional studies, what do? Well, these are a bit more medical, so I don't want to use that. I just want to go. So you can go and search. Just do a search. Questionnaire cross-sectional set design. What quality assessment is that? Just do your search. Then after this, I'll show you one study which is purely quantitative. qualitative, then I'll show you purely quantitative. Yeah. So for a questionnaire design, you can use any of these tools, which many of us will use questionnaires for our studies, and the papers, most of the papers that we are going to review, they are more questionnaires. So you can use what we call, one of the tools is called Axis 2. That's one. You can use JBI. I prefer to use JBI because JBI is more popular. JBI critical appraisal checklist. It's popular, but you can use any of these two, any of them. They will help you to get the same thing at the end of the day. Okay. For the Axis 2, the questions in there, the statement in there are 20. And then you can use the JBI critical appraisal checklist. NHI. There are many of them. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to use JBI because that's what I've used for my previous studies for questionnaire. So JBI first sessional checklist. When you see the word checklist, quality assessment tool, they mean the same thing. So let's go there. So this is it's a checklist, just like how we saw it for the mixed method. So we will see the number of questions. So this is a checklist. Normally, each of the checklists, they have some explanation. So I mean, those of you who are new to this and you are learning this, I will always prefer that you read, just do a little bit of reading to understand what each of the tools stand for. So this is what we call JBI checklist. JBI checklist, where did it come from? I just want to give you a brief overview of who JBI is. Who's a JBI? I think they are, well, I think actually they are Australian. Set up by, this was the Australian or something in Adelaide. So JBI is a global organization promoting and supporting evidence-based decisions that improve health. Okay, so as I said, most of these things were made for health science. That's, once again, now it's becoming something that all of us should do. JBI. And what is the full name of JBI? Joanna Briggs. Joanna Briggs, yeah. Joanna Briggs Institute. Headquartered at the University of Adelaide in South Australia. Yes, Adelaide. That's where those of you who know Dr. Prince and Chiafari and Dr. Daniel Tin, where they are university. Good. So it's part of their school. And they came up with this checklist, which has become a global thing, like everywhere around the world, everyone is using. It's a global checklist, right? It's called Joanna Briggs Institute. Now, the Joanna Briggs Institute has questions just like how we saw it in the mixed method. How many questions are involved? There are 8 questions. For Joanna Briggs cross-sectional checklist. The JBI, they also have one for qualitative study, but this is for questionnaire cross-sectional studies. 8 questions. So when you pick the study, you ask yourself, were the criteria for inclusion in the sample clearly defined? Like in this study, they said they use what? Let's go back to this study. They said they use 17 experts. There are another 13 experts who are BIM experts in Ghana. Is it justified enough? Is it good enough? Probably. If you go into the methodology section, they have explained why they decided to use these 17 and 13 experts. So if you read that. So the question that it will ask you is, were the criteria for inclusion in the sample clearly defined? Yes, you tick. If no, you tick. Unclear, you tick. If not applicable, you tick. Second question, were the study subjects and the setting described in detail? In other words, like where the study took place, including the population, the samples, have they been explained in detail. And probably when you check the methodology section of that paper, they have done that. So yes, was the exposure measured in valid and reliable way? In other words, like, was there validity and reliability test of the data set? And normally you can confirm this if they conducted the reliability test, the internal consistency test using the Cronbach alpha. So you can check that if they are Cronbach alpha is okay. Also, you can check the validity by checking whether they did a pilot study. They send the study to some people to check, to validate the items in the questionnaire and all that. Did they do that? Yes or no? I normally do this a lot in my study. Yes or no? Confirm. Second, were objective standard criteria used for measurement of the condition? Were objective standard criteria used for measurement of the condition? Like the variables, how do they measure them? Have they done that in terms of like indicators? Have they explained the indicators? Like if you check some of my articles, especially the quantitative studies questionnaire, you see that I explain the measurement item. And when I say measurement item, I'm talking about the variables. That's the factors. Let me put it in simple terms. The factors. If you check some of my fuzzy papers and all that, the factors, I explain them. Like I explain how or why or what each of the variables represent. Were co-founding factors identified? Were strategies to deal with co-founding factors stated, like moderators and mediators? Have these things been measured and explained? Were the outcomes measured? And once again, I said some of the things will not apply to this term, because some of these terms, once again, they are medical science related terms. So if they don't apply, you just click on not applicable. Was appropriate statistical analysis used? This is where the data analysis comes in. Like, do they use t-test, fuzzy, SEM, AHP, and the rest? System dynamics, yes or no? Once everything is done, now you sum them up, just like how I showed it to you with this one, with the mixed method. You sum them up, and then you determine whether the paper is free from methodological bias or not. So that's for questionnaire cross-sectional studies. What about if your study is qualitative? Qualitative designs include what? Like case study. Like case studies. An example of a qualitative study is a case study, focus group discussion, ethnography, and go. Right? Yeah. So let's take this one. This is for the same from the GBI. They have one for qualitative study or general qualitative studies. Once the study is considered as qualitative study, you can use this. And how many statement or questions are there? 10. Yeah. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that you have to pick each. So in our case, 17 papers that we have to pick each of them, and based on their research design, we need to assess them. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So all these things I've been trying to show you, I'm just trying to tell you that each of the papers must be assessed. Yeah, it's work. This thing is work, but I mean, it's not also work. It's not any big thing. You can do it within a day. Yeah, within a day. In our case, what I'm going to do is I just want to share the papers so that we all do part of it in this qualitative thing, so that we all get a feel of it. Because I don't want to do it alone. If I do it alone, you guys will not learn how to do it. So I'm going to give at least 2 or 3 papers to each person here. Then you also do the same. And then you bring your outcome. So normally the best thing is that once you have to, once you do this analysis, just keep the sheet. Keep the sheet. So each paper, so your name, can you see the list, the beginning or the thing up here? Your name, the date that you conducted this assessment, the authors, in this case, there's no need to use authors, year, and all that. It will not be important. So instead of putting author, year, record, and all that, I will just say article, or article number, or article title. Yeah, so you do the article title or something. And then we go ahead to do the assessment. So please, everyone is going to do part of this. Are we all good? Is there anyone who has a question? So that will bring our meeting to an end today. I don't want to go further. Other than that, we will not be getting. Is there anyone who has a question? Please, if you have a question, ask. The other biases I wanted to show you, but probably I guess we can do that next week. Yeah. Okay, so this is an example. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is just an example of all the cross-sectional papers, all studies that use that were assessed using the cross-sectional study
Quality
quality appraiser tool. Yeah, all these studies. I think they use JBI from what I can see here. They use JBI, eight questions, each statement. But at the end of the day, you can see the score. The score here is just the number of yeses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the number of yeses, 6. 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7. Yeah, there was one that had 4. So this paper, for example, number 21, you have to consider to take it out of your list, because out of 8, if something, you have a paper that is scoring 4, then that paper has issues. Sika, Bright, and Odru. Yeah. Is it okay? Is everyone okay now? Understand this? I think it's pretty
Yes,
easy.
please.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to share the papers. So this one, I'm going to just give random numbers. But Gosway and Noah, don't forget to add this paper to the list to make it, where is the paper? To make it 18. 18. Okay. So the 18, how many of us are here? I just want those of us here to do it, because I wanted Benjamin to be part of it, but because he's not here, I don't want to worry him. When he comes next time and then he watch the video, we will add him to the remaining sections. So we are 4 here. A 4, 5. We are 5. So let's share the number of papers. 18 divided by 5 is what? Like 3, 3. Oh. So Noah, you do the first 4. Let me do it this way so that you can go faster. So on the list of the papers that Noah, that Excel sheet that you will send to us after you have added this paper to make it 18. After you have added this paper to make it 18, the first 4 papers, you are the one going to assess. Then the next 4 papers, Alex, please do the next 4 papers. That means from 5 to 8. Then the next person, Elvis, another 4. So from 9 to 12. Ghostway, another 4. And that will be 16. And I'll do the last 2. Or you people want to share the last 2? Yeah, share. Noah, take 1. Make it. So Noah, make yours 5.
Okay.
Who is the last person? Just wait.
Look, I can take the last one and add it to mine.
Okay, yeah, okay, the last one. Let's yeah. So we have shared. That's it. So let's do this and bring the results next week.
Okay.
Once that one is done, now we come and extract the data and then do the analysis. It's good now we have the papers, like the selected papers. It will make our work easier compared to
the template. Is there anyone that you can type, like you can edit, enable edit, or I don't know?
Yes, you can edit, or if you can edit, you create it yourself, because this is not, the questions are not many, so you can just copy and create your own questionnaire. You get my point. Like you can just do it yourself. The best thing is that you can use what's the name? In PDF. Let me show you. In PDF you can edit, or you can add. If not edit, you can add something to PDF. Let me show you. I don't know whether because not everyone who has that function. If you don't have that function, I will suggest you create your own Word and then you copy these things into them, and then you just fill. You can do this even though if you are doing the first one, it will take you some few minutes. But once you do it, you can repeat it for the remaining ones. So PDF, for example, this one.
Okay.
If I want to add something, it will be easier. Why? Because I have this function. Can you see my function?
Yes, sir.
And then put just yeah. So if I want to put yes, I just let's say yes, something like this.
Okay.
I don't know why that thing is not working for me. Yeah, but like if I want to say no, you just click on this. You just come and put it here. That kind of thing.
Okay.
But it's not everyone who has this function in the PDF. So if you don't have that function in your PDF, then I recommend you create your own Word. Or if there is a way to convert this, because I know some people can also open a PDF or turn a PDF into a Word document. If you can convert that and get the structure intact, that's good. But if the structure will not be intact, I recommend you create your own quickly create something like a Word document and put all these things. Just copy and put them in, and then just answer.
Okay. So Doc, this one is mixed method appraisal too. So
Yeah.
So does that mean that okay, we can get a paper which is okay? We were seeing that most of the papers were mixed, but in case it is not mixed and it is a quantitative study, should we still go?
Yeah. So if it's purely quantitative study, you just do a search. Just look for. Just do like quantitative design quality assessment too. Just do it for you. Also, you get one.
Okay.
But before you select, maybe you can ask me. Like if in case you are confused, just ask me.
Okay.
Just send me a message, yeah, and ask me. I'll tell you, because there are many. Each of the designs, there are so many tools available, and these
Okay.
tools come from different institutions, just like the one which is coming from University of Adelaide, the
Okay.
GBI one. Different institutions also have their tools, so there are so many of them. And each of the designs, like if you take the qualitative, there are so many designs. If you take the mixed, even the mixed method, there are many. There are many.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can ask me that, maybe Doug, I'm using this for the quantitative. Is it okay? Or I'm using this for the qualitative. Is it okay? Yeah, so
Okay.
let me know. But one thing that, okay, everyone should also understand is that we are dealing with meta-analysis. So once the paper is purely qualitative, automatically we need to take it out.
Yes, please.
So when maybe you start going through the papers and maybe it comes out that it's purely qualitative. The papers that we will consider, or the papers that we are accepting for this meta-analysis, are mixed methods and purely quantitative studies.
Okay.
These are the designs that we are going to allow. Any paper which is qualitative is automatically out.
Okay.
Yeah, any paper that you use interviews and all that, it automatically should be taken out, because we are dealing with meta-analysis. Yeah. Okay. So
No, there was another question. You see, our question topic was meta-analysis of building information modeling in the Ghanaian construction industry, something like that.
Yeah.
So this, if you want to develop a clear research question, like how are you going to do it? Because this is not a niche idea, like you finding barriers or strategies of BIM, but you want to explore factors influencing the various challenges. So how can you set a clear research question for this topic?
So this research question should just be what we can just say, what are the issues?
Okay.
I mean, at this point, but it will be clear when we get to the data extraction. When we are extracting the data, it will be clear as to the kind of research question that we should put it there. But for now, let's maintain what are the issues, maybe the critical issues or the main issues relating to BIM development or BIM application or BIM implementation in the Ghanaian construction industry.
Okay.
What are the main issues? Yeah, let's maintain that for now.
Okay.
Yeah, when we start extracting the data, things will become clear as to the direction we should go. Because right now, I don't really know what is in the papers. So, if one thing about research is that as you go along, based on the data and based on the information that you have or you get, you have to keep on updating your research objectives and research questions.
Okay.
Yeah, the fact that you have set a certain research question or research objective from the beginning, it doesn't mean you have to 100% stick to it forever. Because once you start collecting data, you start doing analysis and all that, you start finding new things, issues will be coming up, and then those issues must be used to modify your initial research question, your initial research objectives that you set.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll keep on modifying. It's just like the same apply also to the topic too. That's why we keep on making changes to our topics, research questions, research topics till the last day.
Okay.
Okay, thank you everyone. If there's no more questions, then we can end today. Okay, so today we have learned the quality assessment. This is very important for your future studies. Yeah, and for your, I've seen that even normal systematic reviews, if not even meta-analysis, many reviewers in recent times are asking the authors to conduct quality assessments of the papers that they use for the articles. So I think it's a good learning platform for you to understand how to assess papers and include them in your systematic reviews and meta-analysis. Okay, thank you for coming. See you next week and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Same to you, Doc. Bye.
Yeah, bye. So Noah, please make sure you send the paper to everyone, all of us, including Benjamin.
Okay.
I mean the Excel. But before you send, don't forget to add the 18th paper that we identified today.
Yeah, I've already added it. I will send them out.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay. Elvis. Elvis.